Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my very first 2021 NFL Draft video. Now, how this is going to work is I'm going to make a video for every pick in the first round of the NFL Draft, starting with pick number 2, ending with pick 32. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because Jacksonville's going to take Trevor Lawrence with the first pick in the draft. There's no really need to discuss this. So I'm going to start with the New York Jets with the second pick in the NFL draft. Now, I'm going to make a video for every single draft pick in the first round, but after pick number 32, I'm going to make a video for every team that doesn't have a pick in the first round. I'm going to release my videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and this is just my opinion, but ultimately, I want to hear from you. I'm making these videos so I can generate a discussion with sports fans and draft fans like yourself. And if you're new to my channel, I have a live stream at Friday, 7 p.m. Central Time, where we talk football. That's all it is. So go ahead and join the live stream and let's talk football. Now, with further ado, Jets fans, you're on the clock. First things first, let's look at the Jets' new head coach, Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh comes over as a first-time head coach. He was the former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, and he brings with him Mike LaFleur, who's now going to be the new offensive coordinator for the Jets, both of these guys from San Francisco. So this leads me to think that you're going to get basically an East Coast version of the San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers on offense, they ran a zone scheme, pretty basic by NFL standards. One thing that they did do is a lot of end arounds with wide receivers, and when Kittle was healthy, even some tight end arounds, which was a lot of fun, but by NFL standards, it was pretty basic. And then Robert Saleh ran a variation of cover 3 with a wide 9 defense. Again, by NFL standards, it's pretty basic and straightforward. It's not something that's overly creative or overly difficult to plan for. You kind of know what you're getting. You're getting a team that's basically pretty straightforward. So that's kind of what you should expect if you're a Jets fan. Now, on defense, when they went to the Super Bowl in 2019, this defense was dominant. They had 5 first-rounders on that defensive line. Now, they had injuries on that defensive line. They weren't really 100% when they entered the Super Bowl, but when they were healthy at the very beginning of the year, this was one of the best defenses you ever seen. So in order for this defense to work, you need studs on that defensive line. So if a Chase Young or either Bosa brother was available, that's going to be the pick. But you don't have anybody who's really worthy on the defensive line to be a top 5 selection. But the Jets do have 6 picks in the first 97 selections, including another first-round pick, the 23rd pick in the draft. So I fully expect the Jets to use at least one, probably multiple picks on the defensive line, but I don't see it at number 2. On offense, the Jets need help on the offensive line, receiver, running back, and Darnold's been involved in multiple quarterback trade rumors, so you could be looking at quarterback here at number 2. But let's start off with the offensive line with the Jets here. The reason I want to start at offensive line is because the most common thing I've seen mocked in mock drafts is Penei Sewell, the tackle out of Oregon, going to the Jets at number 2. Now, most mock drafts consider Penei Sewell the number 1 tackle in the draft, and the Jets do need offensive line help, but that's not my pick. And the reason why I don't have Sewell going to the Jets at number 2 is because last year they used the 11th pick in the draft for Mekhi Becton, and he started at left tackle, and he was arguably the Jets' best player. In my opinion, this is a guy who looks like he's going to be a superstar as an offensive lineman, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to draft a left tackle at 2 and either take arguably your best player and have him switch positions, or take Sewell and have him play on the right side. This is also a very deep tackle draft. You could easily take a tackle at 23 or even at the top of the second round and have him be a day 1 starter. So I don't think Sewell's the pick at number 2. Now, I have seen some mock drafts with wide receiver being the pick at 2, and I think that's more likely to happen than an offensive lineman. And the Jets do need help at the wide receiver position, but there's been a lot of Sam Darnold trade rumors. And so far, we've seen trade rumors with Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, and Carson Wentz. And what happened with these three quarterbacks? They're with different teams. So it looks like even though Sam Darnold is currently the Jets starting quarterback, it looks like he is going to be traded, but it hasn't happened yet. So with the talent that's at the quarterback position, I think the Jets are going to take a quarterback with the second pick in the draft. That said, if the Jets go ahead and sign a quarterback in free agency, then I think it's likely that the Jets will use the second pick in the draft on a wide receiver, or they'll trade down. But I have the Jets going quarterback with the second position. The only question is, who are they going to take? In this draft, there are 4 quarterbacks that will probably go into the top 10. Now, I think Mac Jones will also go in the first round, but he's on a different tier than the remaining 3 quarterbacks that are left. So I don't think that the Jets are really going to consider taking Mac Jones with the second pick in the draft. So I have it narrowed down to either Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance. Now, out of those guys, I have Zach Wilson as the highest rated prospect. However, the Jets need a day one starter. Now, without the combine, we really don't know his official height and weight, but he's most commonly listed at 6'3", 210. And if you watched him play at all like I did, I had the thought that this is somebody who really needs to put on what I call the NFL 20, which means you get into the NFL weight room, you usually put on 20 pounds. He may not need to put on exactly 20, but he will need to bulk up in order to handle playing in the NFL. That's just my opinion. And also, coming from BYU, he didn't play against top-tier talent week in and week out. And that's also a drawback for Trey Lance, who played at North Dakota State University. So most teams, when looking at a prospect, figure in, whether he played at a big school, whether he played at a small school. It's not always that big of a factor. But for the Jets in New York, which is a tough sports town and a major media market, I think it's extremely beneficial if you played at a top-tier college, or at least a Power 5 conference. So with the second pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, I have the New York Jets selecting Justin Fields, quarterback out of Ohio State. Now, I do think Kyle Wilson is a better prospect. I just want to say that. I do think he's a better prospect, but the Jets, in my opinion, really need a guy who can step right in and be a day one starter. I think Justin Fields will come to New York weighing about 230. I think he has the size and the ability to come in and be a day one starter and be a good day one starter. Out of all the quarterbacks left in the draft, he comes most ready to start day one. And I can argue he's more ready to start than Trevor Lawrence, but that's kind of debatable. But out of these 3 quarterbacks, Justin Fields is easily the most ready to start right away. But this is my opinion. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. Let's start a discussion. The whole point of me making this video is I offer my opinion, but I want to hear from you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps me out. And Wednesday, we will break down the third pick in the draft. Dolphins, you're on the clock.